Hello everybody and welcome to the Writing Classroom. My name is Mrs. C and I am so glad you're here, my live learners, my super sentence stackers. I really know what's important to you as writers. You want to be authors. You want to know what to do and you need the right words around you to create the right effects. And you want your writing to be absolutely precise so that you can be proud and happy of your work. I've been so proud of your work and I've been showing off about it to all of my teacher friends. One of the things I want to do before I share some of the celebrations, I want to remind you that we work hard here in the writing classroom. We work quickly, we think and gather quickly, and we make sure we have the right words at the right time so that we can push them into sentences. And this is what we care about. We care about pens up, think at pace, jot quick, writing's ace. And let me tell you, I have seen some brilliant stuff. My celebration board today, well, it is popping. It is popping with somebody's work. Somebody's work who's done exactly what I've asked them to do and beyond. And who is it? Well, this is Ella, and she goes to Green Acres Primary School in Shrewsbury. And it caught my eye. It caught my eye in many ways, but I want to show you a few things that were excellent. Please look over here at this scrumptious adjective. Look at that popping off the page. She also used a really wonderful how adverbial phrase, in fact, to his delight. Oh, Ella, absolute heartburst. And protective palm, bringing back that little alliteration that we collected the time before. I'm going to read this moment at the end of Ella's writing. It's really evocative. Winston, just here, Winston felt overwhelmed. He was ever so thankful he found this man and that this man took him in. Oh, look at the crafting right there. Well done, Ella. I'm so proud. And I know you have got super sentence stacks that are growing in your classrooms with your work. But who's on mine? Well, this is brilliant. We've got Adija, Chriselle and Elsa from all over Europe. Look at that, from the British International School of Brussels and Holy Rosary here in the UK. Brilliant stuff. Okay, everybody. I want to start with getting your books ready. And I'm going to leave this page up so you can follow it. I'm going to show you now the thinking side and the writing side. I'm going to give you some time to organise your thinking side like this. I need you to draw 2 lines so that you create 3 word banks for Learning Chunk 1. Then I want you to draw 1 line here on Learning Chunk 2 to create 2 word banks. But notice the 3rd learning chunk, no lines. I'm going to put some time on the clock now for you to get your thinking side ready for our word banks. Okay, what we're going to do now is look at our narrative map. We're revealing it every day slowly. And today we are on plot point 3. We're going to look closely soon at the plot point. In fact, we're going to watch it twice. When you watch it, which will be soon, you'll see exactly what I mean when I tell you at the beginning of the plot point, we are up here, high, right up nearly in the sky at +9 positivity. But at this same plot point, we also drop. We drop near the end. And actually, this is where I want us to load our writing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you to watch plot point 3. It's only on for a minute. And I want you to watch really closely. I want you to notice, when is it positive? When is it negative? Off you go. Okay, great watching. We are now going to watch that again. But this time when we watch, I want you to notice, when does the food change? Right at the beginning, we can see it has +9 positivity, all the delicious, scrumptious, wonderful food. But when does it change? And I want you to watch really closely and think about why it might change. Let's watch that again. I know that you've got some really good ideas because of how closely you've watched as to why the food has changed. I want you to hold that in your mind for a moment because I might need you to think about that again soon. What are today's steps to success? Well, there are certain things I need you to do during the chunks. And number 1, top of the list. First of all, I want you to think about repetition for effect. The second thing we're going to zoom in to is Winston's mind. We're going to actually tell the reader about what he's thinking, and we're going to use an ly adverb. And the third thing we're going to zoom into is sentence structure. And we're going to build from short, mid-range to longer sentences and create a bit of rhythm and repetition in there too. I'm going to be your writing teacher, and we're going to get the right words at the right time to create the exact effects that we need to. Okay, everybody, are you ready? Because the beginning of the plot point is so positive, and we can sense as we watch it, it doesn't happen in one day. It happens over days. It happens over weeks. It happens over months. I'm going to give you a provided sentence that does 2 jobs. It shows the passing of time and positivity. I'm going to leave this on the screen for you, and I'm going to give you some time to write this provided sentence into your story. And your teacher is also going to write it on their writing side for you to see. I'm going to read it now so you're sure what that sentence is. And you can see how I show time passing on and positivity. After months of delicious food, suddenly everything changed. Off you go. Okay, we're going to start off by collecting words for the difference. We're thinking now about the plot point that suddenly drops to a more negative space for Winston, and everything just seems really odd. I'm going to write down that word actually because it changes, and I'm going to write down the word odd just here. Odd. I'm also going to collect some other words. I'm going to write down unrecognisable because that's in the synonym family, unrecognisable. And I'm also going to write down peculiar. All of these words represent strange. They're in that synonym family. I want you now to chat and jot with your friends, and I want you to write your ideas down in word bank space 1 on thinking side, learning chunk 1. Off you go, everybody. Oh, well done, everybody. I now want your teacher to have pens up and collect all your wonderful ideas. And remember your 2 jobs in kind calling out. You have to be polite. Get your ideas out there orally so your teacher and your friends can write them down. If you've already got odd, you can tick it off. If you haven't got it, it's your chance to add it into Word Bank 1, Learning Chunk 1. Off you go. Oh, brilliant ideas. I know that will pop off now with all of the words. We're moving now over to the next word bank on Learning Chunk 1. We're just here. And I now want us to think of Winston. Winston, the dog's perspective. Things are different. Things are changing. And I want us to think in 3 departments now from Winston's position. I want us to think of sounds that Winston hears that are different. I want us to think of sights that he can see that are different. And then I want us to think of smells. So what are my thoughts that I can gather here? I tell you what is different. There is different chatter at home. It's not the same conversations about baseball. There's different sights. In fact, Winston can see his man owner doing really unusual things, like dancing. And yes, there is definitely a new odour in the house. They're my 3 ideas. What I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to chat with your friends. I'm going to see if you can add 2 ideas if you're in year 2, 3 if you're in year 3, 4, 5 or 6, depending on your year. You haven't got long. Off you go. Okay, Miss Sir, make sure you have pens up. You need to gather those wonderful ideas. Your teacher is now writing at a pelt, gathering your ideas. You're auditing and adding. You're playing bingo and adding the ones you haven't got. It's time for kind calling out. Oh, well done. Now, we are Brussels sprouting. Winston doesn't like Brussels sprouts, and as he looks at it, he's thinking, when you're trying to think of negative words, do you know, sometimes a prefix can help us. I'm going to write down this prefix here, un. And it's making me think that I can choose positive words and then I can un them and make them negative. If I write down appealing, I can un it. If I write down appetizing, I can turn these words into negative words. Let me show you exactly what I mean. All of these words are positive, appealing, appetizing, palatable. So tasty, so yummy. What about unappealing, unappetizing, unpalatable? Oh, I love that about that prefix. It always just puts a sad face on positive words. I'm going to write down one of those words. I'm going to write down unappetising. I really like that one. But I actually want to now think of other words that are already negative loaded. Let me think. Awful. You know, it's all right, awful. But I'm going to do some thesaurus thinking. I'm going to gather some words now that are in the same family. I could even turn up the intensity. Oh, let me have a little look at my lovely shadeometer. Let me put awful on it. Awful. I'm going to go higher up here. Foul. That's in the same family, but more intense. Rancid. Oh, I love that. We really know that's negative. Revolting. That's a good one. And even better, putrid. Really, really more than negative. Love that. Oh, I love all of them. I'm going to write some here now so I don't forget some of them. Unappetising and, rancid. What I'd like you to do now, I want you to jot. I want a whole bank of negative Brussels sprout words from Winston's perspective. Now, I like sprouts, but Winston doesn't. And this is Winston's story. So we need unwords. We need negative words. Off you go, jotting. Teachers, get ready. Pens up. You are now kind calling out. Well done, everybody. We are now moving to writing side. Mrs. C is going to do some demonstration writing. You are going to watch, and I want you to watch really closely for a pattern that is going to be our repetition for effect. We're going to repeat a certain word. You don't have to repeat the same word as me. You can choose. You're going to see inside my writer's brain. you're going to see all the thinking that happens at the point of writing. I want you to see if you can notice the pattern. I know you will. And I'm thinking about Winston. This is Winston's perspective. Watch closely because soon you are going to be the authors. Teachers, with me, we are writing in harmony. We are writing in unison. Are you ready? I'm thinking about all the odd things, the strange things, the new things. New, I've got odour. I'm going to think about that idea. New perfume is what I'm going to write. New perfume. New dancing. But there's music before the dancing, so I'm going to write that first. New music. I can't help frowning because I'm thinking about how Winston is feeling at this point. New perfume, new music, new dancing. And it's not just that. There are other things he can see. New ankles. Well, they weren't there before. New ankles. New routines. Yeah. Well, I used to be able to sit on the chair at the table. Oh, I'll just get excited there, going in rollers, Winston. Oh, what am I like for drama? New food. Yeah, new, rancid, Brussels sprout food. New food. I love that rhythm though. I love the pattern. I love the repetition. That's what I want you to do. Peculiar perfume. Well, that have been good. Anyway, and then here, I just want to capture the Brussels sprout moment. You know the moment I mean. In front of Winston. In front of Winston. Yes, I'm just going to use that beginning. In front of Winston, comma, was I'm going to use one of these words, unappealing, unpalatable, an unpalatable green sprout. Green. Oh, well, sprouts are green. What is the point in saying green sprout? Sprouts are green. No point. Putrid. Right up at the top of the shadeometer. In front of Winston was an unpalatable putrid sprout. Topped, dressed, garnished with an odd leaf, a green leaf. Well, we know green's rubbish, and I'm not going to have green. With a, peculiar, I love that word, peculiar leaf. I'm going to go and read that back. Let's have a read. After months of delicious food, suddenly everything changed. New perfume, new music, new dancing, new ankles, new routines, new food. In front of Winston was an unpalatable, putrid sprout garnished with a peculiar leaf. What do I want you to do? I want you now to be the writers. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. I want you to give me a pattern, a repeated word. And then I want you to finish on the sprout. Off you go. Hello. Okay, Winston. We are now going to think about Winston ever such a lot as we move to Learning Chunk 2. Let me tell you, he is not happy. He is not one jot happy with his food. And what I'm going to do now is actually step into his doggy shoes, his doggy paws, and I'm going to think about what he might be thinking. He's not happy. And I'm actually going to replay some of the things he might be thinking in his mind. What are his inner thoughts? Well, they're definitely negative and they're definitely sad face. This is the sort of thing I'm imagining that Winston is thinking as he looks at the Brussels sprout. Here we go. These are my ideas. You're joking. It feels really chatty and it's negative. I've got another good idea. Yuck. Yuck. Exclamation mark. I don't. I like the way I'm using contracted form there, because if I wrote I do not, it sounds very formal, but I want to tell the reader this is his casual, chatty, inner thought voice. I don't. And that apostrophe showing the dropped letter. Yuck, I don't want that. Full stop. And I've got another idea. Looks awful. Looks awful. I want you now to chart. I know you're going to be brilliant at this. I know you think a lot of things every day when you're in school, and I know you'll be good at negative inner thoughts. Get your ideas down now. Brilliant. You've just chotted. Teachers, pens up now. It is time to kind call out. Oh, you're getting so good at that. I'm so proud of you. Okay, we are now still on Learning Chunk 2, but we are moving to the second word bank. And here I want us to think of adverbs. Adverbs that end in ly. These are how adverbs. And the sort of words we want now are words that show us how he is feeling, and they are negative ly words. Here's my ideas. I'm thinking he's feeling and thinking that this is really desperate and miserable. But I'm going to turn them into ly words. So I'm going to write down desperately. Desperately. And I'm going to write down miserably. I'd like you now to work together. I want you to chat and jot. I want you to jot and see if you can add some more how adverbs. Off you go. Are you ready, sir? Are you ready, miss? Pens up now. I want you to collect the classes negative, ly ending adverbs. I wonder if there's any class out there who can write down 8. Off you go. Right, I've got 2 good, strong word banks. I've got some negative inner thought. I've got some negative adverbs, and I'm going to lean on these banks now because I'm going to drop in what Winston is thinking. And even though it's in his head, we're going to write it down so the reader knows that it is his inner thought. So we're going to use inverted commas. I want you to notice where I start. I'm going to start on a new line. I want you to start on a new line when we put in Winston's inner thought. Watch where I start. There's my first part of my inverted commas. Every time we drop in speech or inner thought, we must start with a capital letter. I'm looking at my ideas. You're joking. Yuck, I don't want that. I mean, they're good. I think this is what I'm going to have as the inner thought. What is this? Capital letter. What is this? It's a question, so I'm going to put in the correct punctuation. Then I'm going to close the inverted commas. Mrs. C has been looking closely at your work, and sometimes what I've noticed is when you put in speech or in a thought, sometimes you now put a capital letter, but I don't want you to. I want you to make this a continuation of the sentence. What is this? This needs to be lowercase. He thought. It's not a capital, it's part of this sentence in this instance. What is this, he thought? I'm now going to drop my ly negative adverb. These are all good. And actually, I've noticed here how they increase with intensity. Disappointedly, miserably, sorrowfully, desperately, all getting a little bit more negative. I probably need to pitch it about here. I'm going to write dejectedly. Dejected. Sound brave writing. Always sound it out. I've put a full stop in there, and it's great as it is, but I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to add some more detail. I'm going to kind of deepen here a little bit. I'm going to put in this as and add on a clause, as he tried to nibble it. Tried is okay. As he attempted to nibble it. Full stop. Oh, I'm really proud of that. I've just given myself goosebumps. You know, it's really important that you care about your writing, and I can see that you've cared about yours. What I want you to do now, I know your teacher has written this in your room so you can see it. Well done. You are now going to write. You're going to show me what you can do. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. And what do I want to read? I want to read negative inner thought. I want to read that negative adverb. And if you want to, you can stretch it and add more detail. Off you go. I cannot wait to read your work. I can just feel that is going to be excellent. You've really got inside Winston's brain there, and I'm going to choose my favourites later. So it might be you actually on my celebration board. Now, we are moving all together to Learning Chunk 3, and there is only one space in Learning Chunk 3, and this is where we are going to prepare to write sentences in a certain way that build from short, mid to longer. Short, mid, longer. But we're going to trail through short, mid, longer a word that we're going to repeat and emphasise. Now, one of the ways you can really emphasise and intensify words is build superlatives. And I find this so interesting. You can take the word most. Most is an intensifier. It doesn't change the content of a sentence, but it turns it up, really intensifies it. Now, most is yours as a writer. You've got that. You can drop most before any adjective and turn it up. But what I want us to have a look at is those words that we can add this suffix s to. Now, I know most will work before all these words. I can say most vile. Look, I can say most foul. I can say most revolting, most offensive. But only some of these words I can write est after them and make a word. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to test this out now. Are you ready? Have a look closely. Unpleasantest. Unpleasantest. Unpleasant. Doesn't really work. Isn't a word in the English dictionary. But foul, foulest. That works. Now, I want you, with your friends, to chat. And I want you to look at all of these words. And I want you to find the ones that you think you can make new words by adding the suffix est onto them so that you can make them superlatives. You've got 45 seconds. Off you go. Oh, well done, everybody. Thank you. Now, what I'd like to do in your classrooms is to kind call out. And your teacher is going to write down the ones we've sorted into words that are in the English language that we can add the suffix s to and turn them into superlatives. Off you go. Well done. Mrs. C is going to do some demonstration writing now. You're going to see inside my mind. You're going to see my beautiful thinking. And your teachers are going to be writing in unison, so you have your model in your classroom. On the writing side now, I want to work with structure. Short, mid, longer sentences. And I want you to notice how I'm going to take a key word, one of these negative words, in its shortest form and build a really short sentence. I'm thinking now about Winston, and he really doesn't like this new Brussels sprout food. It was foul, full stop. Really effective, very snappy. I'm going to take that sentence now and I'm going to add a bit more. I'm going to replicate it. I'm going to follow the pattern, but I'm going to add in an EST. I'm going to use this core word as a superlative. Its extreme form, you might say. It was. Now, if I just put foulest, it doesn't make sense. So I do need a determiner there. It was foul, full stop. It was the foulest. That's a good pattern. I could have, couldn't I? It was rank. It was the rankest. It was gross. It was the grossest. It was vile. It was the vilest. The next thing I'm going to do is have a play around with other intensifiers. This is the sort of thing I mean. I'm going to borrow again the beginning pattern. It was. I'm going to remind myself of some intensifiers. Things like so, very, or adverbs like really, extremely. Oh, is there an E there? Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. I'm going to be a brave writer and I'm going to check that in a minute. If you're ever worried, you still must use it, you know, and check it later. It was the foulest. It was so very foul. I love what I'm doing here. And now I'm going to use that intensifier I talked about earlier that turns things into superlatives, the most. It was the most. Oh, it's all the same content, but I'm really exaggerating it. It was the most foul thing. I can't even call it a sprout. It was the most foul thing he had ever tasted. Ever tasted. And do you know what's so good about that? There's actually not many different words. It's me as a writer taking my time, playing around with the reader and really emphasising it. I want you to choose a rank, a vile, a gross, one of your own ideas, and then use superlative strategies like EST. Use most. Intensify using really and very. And I also know there are some of you out there, right after this full stop, who can deepen. I don't want you to plot push. Some of you would be able to tell me more about this horrible plate of food. I'm going to give you 3 minutes now to show me some patterned superlative writing. Off you go. Well done, everybody. Do you know what? Over the last few days, I've been getting some of the brightest, cleverest, sharpest, most stunning, most detailed submissions. Hold on a minute. I think I've just done a superlative bomb there. Hey, let me tell you, over the weekend when you're reading, if you see any superlatives, why don't you tell your teacher on Monday? Or if you do any reading where you actually see patterned writing, tell your teacher. And do you know what else? I can tell the children who read when I read their work. Oh, you don't half make my heart sing. I can't wait to read your work and tell your teachers to chop, chop, chop. Get your work into me. Get your work into me using the hashtag Mrs. C, hashtag Super Sentence Stackers, hashtag Live Lessons. Get your work over to me and you might see your work up in lights on Monday. I will see you 10:30 next week when we carry on with our fabulous feast writing. Goodbye.